Okay, so we're gonna just show you a quick process. So what we're doing right here is we're taking the chicken out after it's dead and we're gonna dunk it in water. People say 145 online, but we prefer 155 to 160. What the dunking does is it helps the feathers come out easier. You have to do this or else it's really difficult to pluck. So even if you're plucking them just with your hands, you'd still need to do this step. He's gonna check the feathers, and if they come out really easily, then it's time to put it in the plucker. All right. Before he puts it in the plucker, he's going to take the legs off. We found that the legs tend to get stuck if we put it straight in the plucker. And you know, sometimes we'll just use a little knife to cut through, but we found these loppers to work really well. And Lydia's going to town. So now that that's done, he's gonna set it in the plucker and get all the feathers off. Okay, so now it goes in the famous plucker. All right, and after that's done, then we head over here and we break them down. So let me give you a quick tutorial on what I'm doing here. So I just first cut the skin and I pull out the neck away from the skin. And then the next thing that I'm looking for is the esophagus and the crop, or the craw, can be called either. So I'm looking for those two tubes and I pull those out, and then I just cut the skin that I pulled off just right off and toss that aside. Okay, so the next step, once you do the top, and the reason why you do that top is because you want to make sure it falls out the bottom when you pull all the guts out. So now I'm going to cut just a little bit on the belly, and I'm just going to open up that cavity, and then I'm going to slice down either side right next to the bone. I don't really cut deep because I don't want to cut intestines or anything. So I'm really careful to just cut on the sides just like that. And then I'm going to flip him over, and this is kind of a tricky part. You have to cut through the bone, you cut right there through the spine, and then cut on either side, trying to meet up where you cut when you're cutting the other side. And you have to do this really carefully because you don't want to cut any intestines or anything. So you've got to be really careful. It looks like I'm going really fast, but it's just because I've done so many of them, but you have to go really slow. Because you'll see as I finish cutting all these little ligaments, you're going to see there's going to be an intestine still attached. So you see that? That's the intestine that I don't want to puncture at all. I want everything to stay as sterile as possible. And now that that's all done, I'll just lift it up and start pulling with my hand and bring everything out just in one piece. There's still some little bits left, usually like part of the esophagus is still there, and I usually have to kind of scrape and get the lungs. There's one lung, and then I have to get the other one here. That's pretty much it. And then I'm just going to go rinse them off in the sink and bag them up. Okay, we finished the chickens. So we did 10 chickens in an hour and we're exhausted. So we are done. Goodbye.
If you ever want to make a wet chicken feather pillow, it'll be nice and soggy.